I think this might be the first time I've ever gotten good lighting in this spot, but we're talking today a little bit about some of the main problems that come with full body splits. This is something that people have been raving about recently, and I've sort of been in the conversation with some people, and my opinion has always been that upper body is, like an upper lower split is better than full body, and I don't think it's a giant difference, but I do think it is probably a small difference that makes upper lower better in certain ways. And I'm gonna kind of get into like a few of the main problems you guys would have with full body, how to maybe get around them, and help you guys kind of make your own decision as to what you want to choose. So one of the biggest sort of glaring problems that comes with full body, at least for me, is that you have a whole lot of machines to work with. So if you're doing full body, the amount of different places you're gonna have to move to, warm up on, and set up on throughout the day is gonna be kind of miserable, to be honest with you. I'm setting up here on this back machine here, for example, and you know, this really is kind of a hack in a sense, because by me sitting here and actually warming up here and doing 2 sets of trap rows here, as well as a set of lat rows and a set of kelso shrugs here, by having this set up in my routine how I do, this allows me to pretty much bang out most of my back work at the very beginning of my session, which is just so useful for me. And a lot of people, you know, might need a separate machine for all of these things, and that's kind of where I think you would fall flat if, you know, you had to get a trap row, and then you had to get a lat row, then you had to get a lat pull down, and then you had to get a kelso shrug. Oh, and by the way, you have the rest of your body now to go hit. So that, to me at least, would get very annoying quickly. So I feel like the good thing is that if you're resourceful with your gym, if you're actually resourceful, you could find machines like this that are, you know, very competent at doing a whole bunch of different things, and then just camp out on this machine. And people will be like, oh, that's boring. Come on, grow up. You don't need to be entertained, you know? Like, come on. It's fun enough when you're training hard, right? Like, ultimately, you know, we do have to kind of be sensible with how we set up a full body split. So, you know, dragging on from machine to machine can kind of make it a little tough, I think, to stay motivated and just to access them. I mean, a lot of guys I know train at night. A lot of people train, you know, at a later time. And damn, that would just be very hard, at least in my opinion, to get on all these different machines over and over and over, you know, at really peak crowded times. Like if I had to come here for my trap row and then go to another row, and it would get very hairy. So I like to try to be resourceful and try to avoid that when I can, and kind of make the most out of wherever I am. And like I said, that's a very small trade-off in gains, but a giant increase in practicality. Now I just move my mic here for my set. So here we go. With that, we're gonna do one heavy set of trap rows here so you guys can kind of see what my working sets have been looking like. So last time I got this for 6 with 1 in the tank. I'm expecting around the same, given it's been 48 hours. So here we go. Let's see. That was probably 0 in the tank, to be honest with you. Form could have been a little better, so you know we could split hairs here, but this is right around the ballpark I'm looking for, and I'm pretty happy with that. So we're gonna keep going. All right, so another main problem that comes with full body training is your CNS demand actually gets very rough throughout the session. So this is something that I feel like upper lower does not necessarily suffer from, but you know, if you're doing something like tricep extensions or whatever, this is what I would say is a relatively low CNS demand movement, meaning it's a single joint movement. You know, there's not a whole lot of coordination required to do this, and I'm not even personally great at actually executing them. This is something where I always have had, you know, some level of technique issue in the past, but even with this being one of my Achilles heels, it still is not particularly difficult to do. So if you're doing a full body split and you're doing compound movements and whatever, like you're doing, you know, a whole bunch of, you know, pull-ups and hard rows and doing a bunch of, you know, free weight chest pressing and then SLDL and then hack and whatever, you end up kind of entering a sort of territory where you're putting a real lot of load on your CNS, and it limits your ability to actually have really good output. So that's why it's my goal with my programming whenever I do full body, now that I do it frequently, it is my goal to kind of limit which which compound movements I'm putting on which day. So that's again why I sort of lean towards upper lower, because I don't have to worry per se about conflicting a hack squat and an SLDL with a trap row and a chest press and a tricep push down and a bicep curl. Like, all those different things don't really come into play because I'm either focusing on upper or lower, and that just to me is a lot more well-rounded. And that's probably why, if I had to guess, in some of the research we've had on upper lower versus full body, the people that do upper lower actually grow a little bit more. And that's kind of funky to just sort of realize. It's like, wait a minute, people actually grew more from upper body. I thought high frequency was the best in the world, and it is, but you can get a pretty similar frequency with upper lower, albeit slightly less, but you get a very similar frequency with significantly less demand on your central nervous system. So with that, we're going to do my left side here. I got 42 pounds for 6 last time. What I think I'm going to do, 42 and a half this time and see how that goes. You guys know I'm always trying to micro load as best I possibly can. So I got my micro plates here, as you guys can see, and we're gonna stack on 1 pound, 2 pounds, and 3 pounds, and 4 pounds. So what is this right now? This is 42.5. So that's right about where I want to be right now, and I'm going to try to get this on each side for about 6. My right side is slightly stronger, so you guys will notice I always start with my left. So here we go. Let's see if I can do what I want to do. So half a pound more, keep execution really good. Putting it pretty early in the session. So here we go. All right, that was probably 6 with 0 in the tank, but like I said, there are certain scenarios where you have a little bit of variance in your execution, so I'm not really worried about if I got a rep or 2 less, because maybe I got slightly deeper on that stretch here, so it's hard to say, but we're gonna keep moving along. Another big kind of problem with full body is that you really can't do more than 1 set, and this is something that, you know, it's not a huge deal if you're like very experienced, but if you're someone who's pretty much just starting out, or even at like an intermediate level, trying to execute that 1 set with the level of intensity and technique that you need to actually get a growth stimulus from it can be very, very hard. You know, even for me, sometimes I'll do my 1 set and I'm like, damn, you know, I don't know how much I like that, but I don't have a lot of headroom for doing a 2nd set. I mean, I can sometimes, but not particularly often, because I have, you know, freaking 13, 14 sets to do in the workout. So it doesn't give me a lot of headroom to correct an error if on that set I don't really nail it. So it depends on the person. I mean, some people really are good at nailing every set they do, but for me at least, I definitely like the fact that upper lower kind of gives me 2 chances to make it right, if that makes sense. So that's just something to think about. And again, you know, learning how to actually program to where you're able to give each set your all is very important. So if you guys haven't already seen, my split building blueprint is down below in the description. It is literally $9, and I spent like a month of my life on it. I think you guys will love it. It's a 30-page long ebook with videos, pre-built splits you guys should try. A whole bunch of other stuff I think you guys will love. Down below in the description if you guys want to actually learn how to create your own training split so that you find something that you enjoy that actually works for you. So with that, we're gonna do our set here. We've got 3 plates, 25 and 5. So 3 plates and 30 over here on the shoulder press that I'm manipulating a little bit for incline. So this should be pretty good. So we're gonna come here. I like where my arms are. I like all this. This is good. Focus on getting some shoulder flexion here at the bottom. Even kind of a narrow tuck. Trying not to arch too much, but just, you know, enough. And here we go. Oh my God. Oh, that was definitely 0 in the tank. Probably shouldn't have gone for that last one, but it happens. Get a little too trigger happy with it, but it happens. That was good. 6, definitely 0 in the tank. and keep going. All right, so tying together full body splits really comes down to understanding that everything you do is pretty crucial. More than any other split, if you're doing a full body, you have to literally hit the nail on the head with every single thing you do. And that's fine if you've worked your way up to that point, but I think a lot of people really quite haven't gotten there yet, which is fine. But again, that's something you're gonna wanna think about if you are running one. You really wanna be mindful of even things like unilateral work. I'm about to do unilateral tricep extension on my upper day here. I got one set each side, but if I was doing this for like every exercise on a full body day where I had 14 bilateral sets, what would it be, like a 20 set workout? That would be kind of nuts. So, you know, there's some room for interpretation with full body, but not that much, and that's kind of something that I want you guys to really realize. So we're gonna do our set here of cable lateral raises. Haven't done this in literally forever, but it is a great exercise. So I've been looking forward to reincorporating this now. So here we go. I think I'm gonna lower this by 1 before I start, I think. That seems pretty good, yeah, kind of like that. Let's go, you ready? Here we go. Pretty light, let's make it slightly heavier. Here we go. All right, I wasn't gonna gun that last rep there. I just didn't have it. So what was that, like 4-ish? About 4. We'll call it that, and then we'll try to add more next time. So yeah, a good thing to think about as well is that something called the bilateral force deficit. When you're doing a movement that is bilateral, you're actually not as strong at it. So if I was doing this with 2 hands at the same time, I would not be able to move as much. Just like with bicep curls, you know, single arm preacher or something like that. This little thing I want you guys to think about. So with that, we're gonna keep running here. Hope you guys found this useful. Make sure to check out the ebook down below in the description if you want to build your own split. You can apply for coaching and do all that stuff down there as well. Truly hope you guys find this valuable. I'll see you guys soon.